Failure has always been a huge part of my journey, and it's been one of the most important parts of my journey as well. I think there are people that sit at the bottom of the mountain and they're trying to over prepare for the climb. They're trying to think about, okay, what do I need to pack and what I need to learn and like what maps do I need? And so people, they sit and they prepare and they prepare and they prepare. But something that mountains, especially, or any climb, will teach you, and you'll learn this through failure, is that you can never really prepare for the conditions unless you're met with them. And I think there's just so much gold to be learned here. So anytime I make a wrong turn or I have made a mistake, there's been so much wisdom in that. And so it's like, did you fail or did you realize value? Did you find value? Did you uncover gems? Because any failure shows me the wrong way. And so both ways of win. If I succeed, I win because I've succeeded. But if I fail, I still win because now I know what direction not to go in. Now I've uncovered parts about myself. Now I've seen either limitations. Sometimes we fail and we're like, okay, why? Oh, I didn't go all in. I was holding back. Okay, now I have evidence. Now I have data. We really want to be collecting data about ourselves and about the path and about the journey all of the time. This is how we learn. This is how we grow. We're meant to evolve as humans. We're not meant to just sit on the sidelines and figure it all out. It's just not productive. Human beings, we're an evolution. We're always shifting, always evolving. And especially when from an entrepreneurial lens, you've got a business, you've got ideas, you need to test your ideas. You need to figure out who you are, where people, they're sitting there and like, who am I? You've got to go find out who you are. I've discovered who I am through showing up all of the time, through letting myself evolve, through letting myself move. And, I know that social media sometimes can be this like glamorization, but I've never really found it productive to sit in failure and to broadcast failure, to tell everyone that I've failed, because I never actually failed. When I actually do make a mistake or something doesn't work in the way that I expected, there's so much that I've seen now. There's so much that's now being revealed to me. And so this is why I've learned to really embrace it, to embrace failure, to embrace when I turn the wrong way. And, oftentimes there is the path that everyone's walking. And you might see that, and there could be like a left turn, and intuitively you're like, I just know I need to go walk this path. And the people that are walking on the other path, like, don't go there. It's dangerous. People fall off. And this was what happens when you go to start a business or you go to do something crazy, like go post on YouTube every single day or go share your story. Like, people like don't do that. They're afraid, or they've experienced failure and they've created a meaning around it that's wrong. But what if you could rewire that meaning in your head, that when you fail, you actually learn. When you fail, you actually evolve. You grow, you expand, you do what human beings are meant to do. And instead, if you fall, instead of being like, okay, I failed, I better go back to what everyone else is doing, I better go back and join everyone else on their path. You have a bad month in business, see? And people are like, see, I told you shouldn't have done that. I told you shouldn't have started your business. Instead of listening to the noise, you learn, okay, I didn't make money this month, or I had a low month in my business. What can I improve on? How can I get stronger? Okay, I went this path. Maybe I iterate, maybe I adapt slightly, maybe I go this way. And this is what excites me so much. This excites me so much. And I think that's why I've never experienced failure as something wrong or bad, because it's taught me so much about who I am. And so now in my head, now in my brain, I have so much data. Now when I mentor clients, I'm like, I can tell you exactly that you're going to be okay. And I know that because I've had that same thing happen to me, and my entire life changed as a result. So you become more confident. You become stronger in who you are. You are more intelligent. I would say a lot of intelligence comes from embodied knowledge. It's not just I know something. It's like, I've lived this, I am this. And that can be very powerful. I think a lot of people walk around with knowledge in their head, and you might meet people that are like, I know how to do that, but they've never actually done it. I know how to build a business that makes $1 million. I've learned this skill, this strategy, but they don't have the result. And so a lot of what is missing is integration. And so you don't want to be the one that knows everything. You want to be the one that's walking with the knowledge that you know, that's getting back up when you fall, knowing that's part of the journey, and moving beyond any limitations that anyone else has normalized for you. Failure reveals so much. It reveals value in who you are, because you fall and then you're like, okay, all of a sudden I've learned something. I didn't know that about myself. There's now value. Your value increases. And business is just a game of value. It's a game of perceived value. It's about your value strengthening and you finding out who you are. And then with all of that knowledge and intelligence, you go and build things, you go create things. But you can't do that if you're sitting on the sidelines waiting for people to move. And I think that as we grow, as you're going to grow, failure becomes this thing where you get very comfortable failing. But then sometimes you build a really successful business and then you're like, I'm afraid now, because now everyone's watching you. This is where you need to move even further. So notice where you pause, notice where you stop, notice where maybe there were times at the beginning where you're like, I don't mind failing, but now you've built a really successful company and you're like, now I'm afraid everyone's watching me. You know, I've had so many experiences in the last few years that I could have told people and they'll be like, you're failing. But I cannot tell you the skills that I have learned, what I have strengthened in myself. My conviction in who I am is unwaverable. It's unwaverable because of what I have learned along that journey. And I could speak about this forever, but I want to leave you with this core message of really embracing it. Either way, you win. If you succeed, if you go all in and you succeed, you win. And if you fail, you learn, you evolve, you adapt, you become wiser. There's more intelligence now because you've gone and done the thing that didn't work. So now a new path opens up. Now you've been shown that there's work in yourself to do. Maybe you go launch a product and it doesn't do the best. So now you pivot, now you iterate. And that changes worlds. That changes, everything in your business sometimes, because that's where all of a sudden you try a path and you're like, that doesn't work. And now a whole new other path opens up. But you can't see that when you're still at the bottom of the mountain with everyone else preparing for this climb. When you're on the mountain, there are going to be things that happen that are completely out of your control. You can't prepare for some of the things that are going to happen. You just can't. And you don't want to either. Because maybe if you'd known what was going to happen, you would have never started. But what you need to know is as you're walking, as you're climbing, you're going to be okay. You're going to learn, you're going to evolve, you're going to adapt. But there is greatness that lies on the other side of this.